looks like we're live, everyone. Just still loading on my end, but looks like we're good.
Awesome. Hello, everybody, and welcome to What's the Tea? It's good to be here today. Make sure that you share this video on your page, share it with your followers, and make sure you grab your tea because this is our last tea episode of 2021. So we're just excited today. We're going to go into a discussion. Yeah, Celeste has her tea. We're just going to have a discussion about the year. We've come a long way with tea. Tea started in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic, and we have grown and evolved as a team in our interview skills, in our approach to creating these interviews, in our content. And we're just going to overview it and talk about things and talk about the highs, the lows, and also what we've learned. And also, we're going to share with you some of our favorite tea episodes. So, with that, Zach is gonna share. You guys want to introduce yourselves first, so.
Yeah, sure. My name is Celeste. Hopefully a lot of you all already know me, but my name is Celeste. I'm a community educator here at Anew, Building Beyond Violence and Abuse.
And my name is Zach. I've been on several times as well. I'm a community educator at Anew. And I wanted to start with just a couple of some of the stats that we did for 2021. So we did 51 episodes. And as you all know, there's 52 weeks in a year, which means we only missed 1 week. And considering, obviously with COVID and working with other agencies and working together as a team, only missing 1 week for something that a lot of times, these things are completely out of our control. We schedule them and, we want to do them live because it's more engaging for everyone. So yeah, we had 51 episodes, so we only missed 1 week. In 2021 was the first year we really had any outside people. So if you look back and you scroll back to 2020, pretty much all of our episodes were internal. They were with staff members. They were with former employees, the board, or just people who we knew very well and had a close relationship with. And then this year we added outside guests. So I'm just going to name the ones that I have. I hope I don't miss anyone, but I also wanted to say thank you to all these outside community partners who basically volunteered their time to come on the show. We didn't pay anyone, as far as I know, unless not officially. I'm sure we didn't, but okay. So we had the Heartland Alliance, we had Sertoma Center, the YWCA, the Center on Halstead, Senior Services of Will County, Pillars Community Health, the Network, Serendipity Yoga, Purple Path. We had some high school educators and different educators come on the show, I think at least 2 or 3 times. Do you know if I'm missing anyone from what you can remember? I went through the list to want to make sure. If we did, I'm so sorry, but we still thank you. And then all of our coworkers, all the different departments, sanctuary, counseling, our ED Jennifer came on once a month this entire year, basically. Rapid rehousing, we had the board, we had a managers episode, development partnered with us on every single episode, getting the marketing out there. We had representatives from the court advocacy program, from partner abuse intervention program, and Southside Connections. So just wanted to say thank you to all them. And really, we couldn't have done this entire year of episodes without them. Between the 4 of us, the 5 of us, we don't necessarily have 51, 30-minute segments just off the top of our heads. So thank you so much to all of them. And
without further ado,
yeah, we have a cool clip. It's about 10 minutes long. So these are some of our clips from the past episodes of this year. So we'll play that and then we'll come back and speak about kind of our reflection for the year. So let me go ahead and share this video.
We hope you find yourself healthy at the moment, especially in this new year. But today we're going to talk about the mental and emotional health of children who are not in schools right now. And we're going to get into the nitty gritty about self-care and really unpack the ideas about what it is and what it really takes to care for oneself during work that's related to trauma and even during times of trauma that we're experiencing in our own lives.
We want to make sure that we target those issues and help with those issues so we can help you move forward within your school career.
February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. When I was asking some of the young ladies about consent, I don't really think they understand the true essence of what consent is. And for me, that's why I keep saying that your voice matters, because you do have a say-so in the situation. And if they truly understood what consent is, I think that's where we develop that high level of self-esteem as well.
When she interviewed young adults and teenage boys, they had a really restricted range for their emotions. It was okay for them to be angry and it was okay for them to be happy, but it didn't really seem like it was okay to be anything in between.
I'd like to just kind of give a brief overview of this concept of the school to prison pipeline.
Our team has changed a lot too in our dynamics, right? So we want to share it because we thought that this could add value to the audience. You see team, but we're going to give you an inside perspective into what goes behind team, what goes on behind the scenes, how was this created, why, and what is the process of creating. So today we are going to be talking about domestic violence and poverty.
Aquí en South Suburban Family Shelter ofrecemos servicios para las personas que han sido afectadas por la violencia doméstica.
April is also really known for sexual assault awareness.
About domestic violence related to how this looks maybe a little bit different in rural communities.
So 1 out of every 7 children in the U.S. have experienced either sexual assault or physical.
Really, the end game or end goal of the campaign is ending all permanent punishments that individuals face after incarceration.
The COVID-19 pandemic a little bit and how that overlaps with trauma and mental health and stress.
We're going to get into some serious moments, but we're also going to have some fun and actually have almost like a tone that's kind of reflective.
I think what else is important is for us to be kind to ourselves and to realize that what we're dealing with is unprecedented. And so we're doing the best that we can. And so instead of going down the path of, I should have done this, I'm not doing that, is to really recognize what we are doing and recognize that we are trying and to just have grace with ourselves.
At Sanctuary, we have an amazing class called Healthy Living that is done. It's really like facilitated group therapy with the women that are there.
A lot of people assume that a domestic violence agency only provides services to women because they are primarily thinking that domestic violence is only experienced by women, and that is not at all the case.
Because we have needed to adapt to this new normal.
Folks who are not familiar, Center on Halstead is a really big LGBTQ community center.
Especially with consent, they know that that's who needs to learn it are the boys, right? Because that's the majority of the time the crux of the problem. So
when we're given presentations in schools, we get all the time, oh, I didn't know that was domestic violence. I was in a few of those relationships. That never got taught to us in a household. Or I remember having a student tell me, we need someone like you in all the high schools because this conversation isn't being held in school or in the household. We're raising the next generation of racial justice.
That exposure to individuals really help defy stereotypes. I think a lot of racial biases comes from the unknown.
They're unsure whether it's healthy or unhealthy. You think, like, do I have the ability to disagree? Do I have the ability to make my own decisions and take personal space? Bystander intervention, just a simple definition, is taking action, change the outcome of the situation where someone is being harmed.
Estoy muy contenta de trabajar para la agencia South Suburban Family Shelter. We'll talk about cultural healing,
Which is actually pretty interesting to both Sandra and I because it's a
that we teach in our 40-hour domestic violence training that we offer.
Jennifer had the idea of bringing her son Sebastian on. So
I volunteered my example.
And during the pandemic alone, I'm sure a lot of the managers are ready to tell their stories and tell us how this process has been.
We have this idea that it's a one-size-fits-all approach to healing, and it's not. And so what may affect me and impact the people around me may be totally different for another person, because it's really about do you have the tangible and sustainable skills, tools, and resources to get through and navigate that process. And if you don't, you find yourself in a worse predicament than you were when you started.
You know, that's not the first person or the age group that might come to mind where that happens in. But it absolutely does. And we do see frequent situations of domestic violence or some version of abuse happening with seniors.
Thank you, for bringing awareness. So the more awareness that we bring to the community that therapy is okay, that we will encourage people that look like us, to seek therapy. It's okay. We're not judging. We're all broken, trying to get on that way to healing. So we're in this with you. You're not alone. We're going to talk about our rebranding. So our name is now Anew.
So essentially what we've learned is that 0 to 5 is the most important time of brain development for all of us humans. So when very young children are exposed to violence, whether it be in the home, in the community, a natural disaster, it can impact the way in which their brain develops and builds or doesn't build some of those pathways.
When you're speaking in terms of vicarious trauma, sometimes people don't identify that as traumatic. They believe that, hey, it's just part of the job.
I love to speak about emotional abuse because honestly, a lot of people do not know that they're in an abusive relationship because it's emotional abuse.
Remember that abuse is very multi-layered. It's not going to be obvious things that people think of. It's not always pure physical abuse. It's not as easy as just, leave. There's so many, if you have kids, you love this person at some point. You're grieving the loss of the relationship.
So financial and property abuse is what I often think of as economic abuse, is when you think about power and control, and it's a person who is, they don't have control over their economic situation or their finances.
Like, I'm getting abused. And like I said, it started from small things to bigger things.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the abuse really kept happening, it was just like continuously every day, just because I left something on the floor, we'll argue or something like that, and the abuse just really started happening. That's when I started realizing, okay, I gotta get out of here. But then you start thinking, okay, we live together, and I have nobody to go to, and I'm pregnant. Okay, so it's like, I gotta stay in this. Okay, what am I gonna do?
Once it leaves your hands, it becomes public knowledge. You just put it on a public. And when you sign up for certain platforms, I don't really read the 100-page, discretion, right, or disclaimer of what they can and can't. We pretty much just agree. And one of the ways that systemic change can happen in a capitalist society like ours is that big corporations make change, and because money gets put on the line, that change tends to stick and become widespread. Like, you made it through this whole year, and that's in itself an incredible accomplishment.
we're going to do an episode on the new Netflix show, The Maid, and that has some pretty realistic depictions of domestic violence.
We're going to learn more about the policies of domestic violence policy work and the advocacy work that she does in the work.
You can stop, take a deep breath, think about what you're grateful for in the moment. You can stretch in a way that feels natural and authentic to you. All of those are very simple, very free ways to start to feel very connected to yourself and to dip your toe in the practice of yoga. So remember that as you move through the holiday season and into the new year, that I am here for you, and you can also always be there for yourself.
Oh, you're on mute, Lysandra.
Thanks. Awesome video. Celeste made the video for us today. So just shout out to her for putting together, I think, every single interview that we had. That was basically like a montage of every video. So that was awesome. It was great to look at it and just to kind of remember where we've been this year. So thank you for that. Okay, so let me ask you guys, we want to try to reflect and just do this recap because as many of you guys know, we're going to change our schedule. Tea has been happening once a week. And so we're going to actually start doing a monthly episode of Tea moving forward. And so we're in this transition. We're in a transition of sorts. There's a lot of content. We've created basically like a vault of a ton of valuable information and content that is going to continue to exist on our YouTube page and on our website. But we've grown. We wanted Tea to be a way for people to learn more about our work, but also about our staff and the behind the scenes process of what we do at our agency. So we just want to reflect on how we've grown, how we've partnered with other departments in the agency, what we've learned, how we've been challenged, and what we really got out of doing this and what value we saw in the interviews that we've created. So let me ask you guys, how do you think we've grown in 2021 as it pertains to our creating these interviews and putting this content out?
In so many different ways. I have a lot of things like going through my head right now, but I know just the way we plan our tea episodes is different now. We're very strategic about the way that we reach out. And in the beginning, everything was kind of last minute. We didn't really have the hang of it. We didn't really have the flow yet. Stood a little bit more, and now we're able to plan ahead of time. So that's definitely something that we've grown in. I've also noticed everybody's interviewing skills has just gotten a lot. You can go ahead, Sam. What else?
I would have to agree. Working as a team, I guess, because the question was how have we grown, and I would say as a team, it was a lot better to produce or easier to produce episodes when I knew that, okay, we've got this week taken care of and even next week taken care of, and now we can just focus on just what are my responsibilities. So kind of really planning ahead and doing it as a team made it a whole lot easier for individuals, I think. And to your other point, Celeste, if anyone's ever listened to themselves back on a video or an audio recording, I mean, you will, I mean, just even in that montage, it's like you hear all your verbal tics, you hear your habits, and as long as you're willing to listen and willing to grow, you will find what needs to be done. So I'm still working on that, of course, as I'm sure a lot of us are, but the interview skills, and then especially with 2021, I think it's how to communicate with other people who are meeting for the first time, and maybe we only were able to speak with them for 15 minutes before we went live on an episode. So how to communicate and show appreciation for other people as well, and not just seeing the person for more than just them helping us for a video, and kind of seeing what they're about and how their personality fits into their job too.
I like that. I really enjoy getting to know all these people as well. Everybody was so unique. Everybody had something different to offer. And I enjoyed that part of Tea.
I think that's a great point because to your point about the fact that in 2020, we primarily did internal interviews with people that were on staff at Anew, but we expanded in 2021 to our partners. And so that outreach aspect of doing Tea, I think, was pretty amazing and really strengthened our relationships with our partners too, to be able to highlight their work, be able to learn more about them, talk to them one-on-one. hear more about the details of what they do, and not just that, what brought them to their work. So I loved that aspect of it too. And I agree with both of you guys, just the fact that our interview skills, I will give an example of that for myself. I looked back at T, and one of the things I was doing in efforts to make the interviewee feel comfortable was I kept, basically talking. When they were talking, I would say, yeah, okay, yeah, I understand. But I realized it was overkill. So from watching my interviews, I was like, oh, just be quiet. Don't do that. Don't do too much of that. So that was one of the things that I grew. That was an area that I grew in terms of my interview skills.
I definitely caught myself saying a lot. And
Same. Same. So we grew a lot in that way. And as Zach pointed out, we changed our process. We were doing almost week to week in terms of our planning. And we shifted in 2021 to planning almost 3 months out, I think. So that was a huge adjustment that was made, that was good. That was really good for us.
Yeah, it allowed us to do the DVAM series for Domestic
Yes.
Violence Awareness Month in October. Also kind of pairing episodes too. So kind of being creative with the topics as well, taking a deeper dive. Because I know if you look back to a lot of our episodes last year, a lot of it was just like, okay, like what does this department even do? Because there's no public presence really for counseling or for a lot of our programs for confidential reasons. But yeah, just being creative and kind of expanding. So if someone had kind of seen a couple videos we've done, then we can kind of take it from 101 to more of a almost like a training approach.
yeah, and our original goal was, back in 2020, was to highlight every program in the agency. And so once we had already done that, now in 2020, for other resources, not just ourselves, but other partners that we work with. And it worked out.
Absolutely. So what would you guys say was the most challenging aspect of creating T?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. I'm having some connection issues. Sandra, can you repeat that?
It's okay. What would you say was the most challenging aspect to creating T?
Ooh.
I can go if you're thinking about
Yeah,
it.
I'm thinking.
I've got a couple. Sometimes I like because you can never like, I don't think you can necessarily like recreate the conversation or the interview beforehand. So sometimes you don't always know what's gonna be said, and sometimes I'm still trying to like think, and I want to like listen and like comprehend it and sit with it for a second, but at the same time I know that there's other people on the other end of the screen, like this is this is content, this is a packaged thing, and you can't just leave dead air on for 45 seconds while you're thinking. So thinking on my feet a little bit would be a challenge, I think. And also with 2021, just like kind of cold emailing and cold calling people essentially, and building a relationship from scratch, and being a stranger, and then building relationships out of that.
That's
Yeah, I
good.
don't
No,
know. I'm
that's
just gonna
true.
piggyback
Actually,
off
that's
of
really
what
good.
Zach said. I feel like a lot of it was challenging just because it was all done before. So everything, pretty much every part of it was challenging in the beginning, but it did gradually get easier. Who communicated with each other and helped each other out as well.
I would agree. Were there any aspects or any moments where you guys felt just like proud of our team or proud of someone in particular, or impressed by something that happened with T, either a guest or someone on our team where you just felt like, wow, that was really, really amazing? I can go.
These questions, Sandra. Go ahead.
Let me do that one. I was absolutely impressed with Celeste in terms of having to transcribe the Spanish episodes. Yeah, I just thought that was an enormous task, and the fact that you were doing that for every one that we did, I just was very impressed by that. And like, oh wow, this is amazing. So that was one definitely for me. And then Zach, I don't know if I remember which one it was, but there was an episode that was really I think it was like a very sensitive topic, and somehow like the way you handled that one, I remember feeling like he's like really killing it in terms of just knowing when to say what, and facial expressions and tone, and pulling more out of the interview. So yeah.
I had those instances with all of us in an episode, but I remember you, Lysandra, Angela, I remember Zach, everyone, and then me sitting here responded to that. You know, I don't know if I would have done this to certain things, especially when it's, you know, like a iffy topic, or, you know, myself as well for that transcribing. I found a new skill that I have that I'm definitely going to keep working on.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, Celeste, that episode was the one that you did in Spanish was the most popular one of the 2021 year.
Oh.
So I'm really glad, because that means we have a lot of Spanish speaking people who are, you know, tuning into our Facebook page that maybe we weren't promoting as much before we knew that. But I have to agree. I think just in general, like we had survivors on, we talked a lot about trauma this year, several episodes, different types of abuse. I mean, sexual abuse. We talked about a deep dive on emotional abuse, and just the way everyone handled their conversations. And especially when people were telling their own personal stories, I thought that especially stuck out on a number of episodes, just where people felt comfortable enough to share that, not only with the person interviewing them, but with everyone who watches the videos as well.
Absolutely.
I will say the easiest episodes, we didn't have to do all the research. We were just in the didn't involve
Oh, you cut out a bit on that one.
Celeste, we kind of missed, I think, the last part of what you just said, because your connection was a little iffy there. Can you repeat that, the last thing you said?
the easier episodes were the you have to do.
So Celeste, okay, she's having some technical difficulties. That's okay. Okay, I think she's gonna try to fix that. But I totally agree. I think so. Celeste was saying that the easiest ones were the ones where we didn't have to do a lot of research, and I agree. Those were a little bit more simple, but I think the ones where we did the research were pretty profound. And just brought a lot of value. I was going to ask, that kind of segues into what did you find to be the most enjoyable aspect of doing tea?
I do like researching and learning while working. That's one of the things I like about this job, and doing like continuing education trainings, and even like the 40-hour and things like that, where I can do research. Like I did research on trauma this year. I did research on the school to prison pipeline, about permanent punishments. So the list just goes on, but I do enjoy that. I like learning, especially if you can get paid to learn and then share what you learn with other people, so that someone gets value out of it. So I like that a lot. And I do also like the balance. I like how we, as Celeste was saying before she cut out, we have those episodes where it's not so much like you're gonna have to really think and concentrate and focus, but we have that balance of debriefing and taking a step back about what we're actually doing, and not just making sure that just putting out a video is the bottom line, which it's not, because what's being said and the quality of it's just as important, and taking that time to take a step back.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think that it was great to learn. We learned about aspects of DV, I think, that were brand new to us, that we had not thought much about, or didn't have a lot of back overview or like background on. So I love that aspect of it too, because it was really just illuminating. So I absolutely agree. Let's talk about, I think Celeste is still working on her text, so that's okay. We'll keep moving forward. What about, okay. What about favorite episodes? Do you guys have any favorite episodes, either that someone else was in, that you saw, or that you actually facilitated?
Are you all able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. So I'm sorry I missed the last question, but it was the episode on the maid.
Yeah.
You all watched that. It was just a really interesting series to watch, and teach in our training.
And to answer your question, Lysandra, I think Celeste is becoming frozen again, frozen in the snowstorm that just come down about an hour ago. I have an episode for pretty much everyone that I thought was my favorite out of all of them. Starting way back, I know it was 2020, but it was in December, which was yours, Lysandra, with Alberta, which was about grief, and another tough topic to talk about. And I just love the way she just really, really sweet about it. And you could tell it came from a lot of experience, both as a person and as a counselor. So I thought that was really just a great episode. I would put that on my reruns if we had like a day of reruns. I would put that up on there. For Celeste, one of the recent ones, which was just last month, was the tech one with Miriam, who's our IT facilitator, owner of the IT company. And I just think that was just super relevant. We're not all involved with TV, but we all have this tech safety that we all have to start thinking about going forward, and it really does cross over with our work. So there was a lot of things in that episode that is worth rewatching. And then with Angie, her DVAM episode, which was episode number 73 this October, which took a deep dive on emotional abuse, and just something that I think was topic wise, I thought it was really needed, and just handled that really well and explained everything really well. So, and then not to talk about myself too much, but I liked, I really like doing that sports episode and researching what the different leagues were doing as far as their DV policies. But all the ones with, I like talking with everyone. The ones with Mitch were always fun to talk about, bro, and the Heartland Alliance with Marlon, and doing the fathers episode. So a lot of good episodes there for this year. I enjoyed it.
No, that's awesome. Those were all super powerful interviews. I think my favorite was also the one with Marlon from Heartland Alliance, and the one with the fathers, because you guys were so transparent. Marlon in his interview, and then the one about of the Father's Day interview, you guys were really transparent. Marlon especially talked about the motivations behind his work, his personal history, and how it was connected to his work. Celeste's connection is bad, so she's going to cut out for now, and that's okay. So thanks to her for the work that she did on this particular episode. But Marlon, yeah, I think he was great, and I just loved I love it when you can hear people are willing to share just like what really motivated them to do this work and what really motivated him to get involved with advocacy work. With the father's episode, I know it's Mitch, and then what was the other person's name?
That was with Mitch and Mark and Andrew.
Mark, that's right. That was great. Yeah, that was actually awesome. And that was actually awesome. And we basically, I think, learned a lot about, it was basically the opposite of toxic masculinity. Like they weren't afraid to share their heart and share their vulnerabilities and share their personal experiences. So I thought it was really powerful. And I was saying when we debriefed that one, you don't hear that often, or you don't hear that every day. So I thought it was a powerful interview. I was also going to say, I love the fact that Celeste interviewed Miriam as well, because it showed just how much goes into this work, even though Miriam's work is kind of behind the scenes, but it shows how much goes into it, and how much information in terms of like cybersecurity and how that plays a role in domestic violence, safety, and just all the people that work behind the scenes. And it was the first interview of its kind that we had done. It's great.
Absolutely. So many episodes, 51. Hard to just pick one or two, but kind of went through them and kind of took out the ones where it was us, even though I did enjoy those a ton as well.
In terms of the episodes that maybe challenged you, were there any episodes that really that kind of challenged you or pushed you to think or act in new ways, or that you just found challenging in any way?
Yeah, I think a lot of them were just like difficult to topic wise, like to approach it appropriately. So I think that's always a challenge, but that's just a challenge generally if you work in social services or counseling or anything that we do where we're talking about these kind of heavy topics. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is just just to not come off as a way I'm not trying to come off, like whether it's a facial reaction or if it's just like collecting my thought in the moment and I say something that I don't mean or something like that. So I'm always kind of conscious about that. I think the one with the permanent punishments was one that I had to like kind of like really think about, and because that's not something I heard a ton about before researching that episode. Like I had to kind of start from zero, and before I could even form an opinion on it. So that was really interesting. Basically, permanent punishments are when, if I remember correctly, that after people serve a jail sentence, that there's still kind of this, it's still kind of hanging over their heads with employment, with housing, and just really getting your life kind of restarted. So it's more like it's, you're not just serving your jail sentence, you're still paying long after, and it's it opened my eyes to you're basically still in, you're still not free essentially, but you were accountable and you still did your sentence and things like that. So that one definitely stands out to me. How about you, Sandra?
Yeah, absolutely. I was challenged by the ones that we did around teen dating violence, and then also the Mother's Day one, just because as a parent, it causes you to think about how you're approaching these topics with your own children, maybe ways that you're lacking and other ways that you're maybe really strong. And so it caused me to really self-reflect personally on things that I could do more of. Yeah, Absolutely. Those were great. I would say another one, it wasn't necessarily challenging, but it was a really good one that there was a lot of that was also different from other ones we had done was the one I did with Reba, who was a survivor. I loved that episode. And she basically took us through her whole story. So you got a chance to really see not just her experiences with DV, but how she recovered and how she's now an advocate, and the work that she's doing as a coach, helping other victims and survivors recreate their life after abuse. So that one was actually, it was challenging in the sense that there was so much that she was sharing. I had to keep up with those questions and really keep, bringing us back and like moving the interview forward, because that could have been like 2 interviews. So it was so much content, but it was actually amazing. So that was a really good one that really impacted me as well.
Yeah, that one will always, I think, stand out when we kind of look back. And now though, in years to come, I think we'll look back and say that was a really good one. Just again, you you really showed your strength on that episode, which is just building, creating that space for the other person to feel comfortable with you, and with such a hard topic, difficult life story. I mean, that kudos to her.
Yeah, absolutely. Were there any other overview or stats that we should share? I know you talked about most watched episode.
Yeah, this is off Facebook numbers, so there may be, if we look at different things, but just kind of off views. Yeah, episode 62, which was one in Spanish. That was the community advocacy episode. That was one of the most viewed ones.
Wow.
And then 41, which was episode 41, which was on the school to prison pipeline. That one did pretty well.
Wow.
And then I think right around that same views was episode 38, which was on teen dating violence. So if I'm not mistaken, those were the top 3 viewed episodes for the year. And I think the live episodes do a bit better in general. But it was good to see that the Spanish one did so well.
Absolutely. Wow, that's amazing. So we are gonna segue. I think after this month, we're gonna be doing a monthly tea, and so be on the lookout for the flyer that's gonna come out on our Facebook page, and it's gonna talk about. We're gonna continue to update you guys on what topic is gonna be focused on from month to month. But with that, Zach, were there any other final thoughts that you had around tea?
Just let us know if there's a topic you want us to cover in the new year. Now that we're going to one a month, we can take a little bit more time if there's something that takes a little bit more time to contact with partners or to research. So let us know what you want us to cover, or if there was an episode that you thought stood out this year, or just if you wanted to say hi. And if you tagged along for this whole year, we'd love to hear from you. But no, just thanks to everyone that helped us out this year. It flew by. Cliche.
It definitely did. It definitely did. Again, thank you to everyone that was a guest, all of the different departments. Special thanks to our development department, who they basically work in partnership with us to produce tea and market tea, and make sure everything goes over well. But yeah, thank you to everybody that's been a part of this journey. It's been fun. It's been educational. It's been challenging in good ways. So yeah, thank you guys. We want to make sure that you are sharing this interview, but then also be on the lookout for the date for the next one that's going to take place in January, and we'll be back, same place, same time, different tea.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you guys.